All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Traversing the Veil. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D campaigns set in my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me went rock climbing last week, or 2 weeks ago, last session, and nobody died. Like, that's nice.
It is shocking.
I
Very
literally
shocking.
went rock climbing 2
We
weeks ago,
made
so I
a
was like,
plan.
wait, did I tell you that?
We made a plan and it actually worked.
Yeah.
Will never happen again.
No.
Despite
And I-
Reggie's best efforts.
And I didn't even have to use any of the rules I made for what happens when you fall into the veil.
Oh,
So, I mean,
for fuck's sake.
Remembering what you told us last night, I thought you were like, oh, we just melt up in acid and we're gonna like burn away or whatever. No, it's far worse.
fun stuff. The weird stuff that my brain will just latch onto. It's like, so, you know, if it is that, like, I have a whole reason for how the veil works and everything because I have massive problems that my therapist can't fix. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, what would happen if this and this and this? And I just started kind of going down this rabbit hole of what do bad chemicals do to your lungs?
Oh, God.
And that's where it came from. So, announcements. Finally got the last Transformers Designing New Dragons up. I made a cool...
Ooh.
I made a character who I just rolled on a table for his influences, and the influences he got was former senator and cube player, which for Transformers is just basically like a football or soccer player. So yeah, he was a senator that got sick of politics and decided to become an athlete.
Good for him.
So yeah, it turned into this weird thing that he eventually had a ladder and a pile driver as part of his robot form because I could.
Yeah.
And he turned into, and he has extendy punches because apparently, at least in the Transformers RPG, if you have a ladder, you can use it to increase the range of your unarmed strikes. So he has extendy punches, and I really, really like that. I don't know why.
Interesting.
So anyway, yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. I'm hoping to have at least one other video up talking about some of the new D&D stuff that happened with the latest playtest. Specifically the monk stuff, because they kind of did... They did some cool stuff. They did some stuff that I'm like, not thrilled with. But overall, it has given me hope. And I have not had hope in a long time.
Yeah, it ain't bad.
So yeah, cool, interesting stuff. Otherwise,
Yeah, they actually made Power Kill do something. That's nice.
yeah, we'll see what happens. I kept saying this from the beginning of the 1D&D playtest. At the start of D&D Next, which is eventually became 5th edition, which is what we are playing tonight. They got rid of skills. Like, they intentionally got rid of skills because they wanted the game to be more based on your attributes and less based on maximizing skills, which is what 3rd edition went crazy on, and 4th edition kind of did as well, where they had these massive skill lists, and anything, especially in 3rd edition, if you weren't trained in a skill, it was worthless to you. There was no if you didn't invest skill points in it, there's no possible way you could ever succeed on it. And yeah, that lasted through like a year and a half, I want to say, of the playtest. And anyone that plays D&D 5th edition knows there's lots of skills. So yeah, everyone kind of him and hawing going, oh, it's the end of D&D when it first came out. So much of those first playtest packets have been thrown out with this new one. And I still I think there's still going to be quite a few things from this playtest packet that are thrown out as well because they just don't seem to be working. But it's a step in the right direction. And it looks significantly more like it's going to actually be the backwards compatible thing that they pitched it as now than the first version. So we'll see.
It's almost like they listen to all the playtest data.
Oh no.
submitted.
You're wrong.
Huh?
See, Wizards of the Coast doesn't care about feedback. They throw all of those away because
Oh, really?
market
All the
research,
millions of dollars?
market research is
Oh.
super cheap to get, and companies don't pay hundreds of millions of dollars for it, and we weren't giving them that for free. So,
This is sarcasm, folks.
Yeah,
we found out.
yeah, it's like this is appropriate for a certain strike that's going on right now.
I found out recently, I guess not recently, within the past year, if you put /s after a statement, apparently people now understand that's meant to be sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Or at least that's the Reddit shorthand I have found. Also, Reddit
Well-
is strange, but
Oh, yeah. But it's
yeah,
like, it's a good context for people who don't understand that, your text voice doesn't translate the same way.
yeah. Also,
Yeah, that's a conversation I have to have with my kids at school. Especially when it's just LOL. Do you think it's funny? No.
then why-
Not you guys, the kids.
Yeah.
LOL.
yeah, that's fine.
Also, r/D&D is a weird subreddit, but I think it's Cypher or r/Cypher system. The Cypher system subreddit is really interesting. Like, I've had a lot of fun going to the Cypher. The Cypher system subreddit is what I want r/D&D to be, which is mostly people talking about the Cypher system without going, "Oh, it's the worst thing in the world. We need Cypher 3.5." Yeah. Anyway, you guys want to play some D&D?
Yay.
Hi.
All right. Then it's time for us to return. It has been a day. It has been a day, guys. All right, now it's time for us to return to Traversing the Veil. The party has been framed. After discovering ruins that have never been seen before. I'm sorry, Chex.
Sorry.
What?
No, I just, the party has been framed, and so Chex started framing herself. The party, after discovering ruins that have never existed on a Fading Isle ever, there was an incident that involved a lot of explosions that was apparently created to sow discord and blame our party of adventurers. After defending themselves and realizing that this was meant to distract them so that whomever had constructed this as a situation could get to the ruins first, they decided to sail to the ruins using their improved, their upgraded ship, and then climb the sheer cliff face at the bottom to get to the ruins. On the way there, they seem to have damaged their propulsion system slightly, but made it there in one piece, and then proceeded to scale this sheer 150-foot high cliff. Through the many perils of the island itself moving, parts of the cliff falling off, and other difficulties, the group was able to get to the top and bring everyone up. And then they overlooked a city of ruins that they now must explore. So, sorry, looking for the right soundscape. There we go. So, as you guys have all come to the top of this cliff, and that is very loud. Let's move that down a As you guys have all come to the top of this cliff, you can now you are now overlooking this pretty massive city that is in complete ruins. Something you guys all notice pretty quickly compared to a lot of the cities that you guys have been in that tend to build upwards, seen as there is a significant lack of land space to build outwards. This city is mostly flat. Most buildings don't get higher than maybe 2 stories. A few of them get up to 3, but for the most part, these are mostly single-story dwellings that have seen better days. But if you look close enough, you can see quite a few sets of stairs and other things going underground, giving you an idea that this city itself, you're probably only seeing the very top of the city. So that being said, what would you all like to do?
Do we recall because I remember we did the recreation of the tableau. Because I remember we did like some references. Did someone draw that after we completed? We did because it was a mixture of. I'm vaguely trying to recall how there was a reference to a mural that was missing pieces, and we kind of worked together through minor illusion and filling in the blank type situation.
I believe I'm trying to figure out.
So I know it was a while ago. I was looking at my notes. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where you guys found the tableau is the issue. Because it wasn't on this island, right?
No. I thought it was like a memory type thing.
Yeah, I believe it was when you were
Awry.
contacted by your patron.
Well, we talked about it. I don't remember if we actually, we were warned about what was coming.
Yeah, there was something deep and dangerous. Due to the fact that no one can remember right now, what did you want
Thank
to
you.
know about that tableau?
Sorry. Yeah, God, of course, it's the one page I skipped. Arai remember a mural tableau of fighting a nightmare creature from a place opposite to the Feywild. The mural glowed
Oh,
all its own, beam of light coming from hole in mural, hitting creature.
right.
Yeah,
That's the one page I
because
missed.
that was back when Arai was with his parents, right? Now I'm starting to remember. Yes.
Yep. That was when I was a kid.
So yes, there was in the Feywild, in one of the Vanishing Ruins. Always nice of my players to take notes. In one of the Vanishing Ruins, when you were relatively young, like we're probably thinking like 6 or 7 at this point, where one of your parents was like entertaining you while the other one was killing monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this kind of strange partial tableau that depicted this weird battle with this large kind of undefined enemy from somewhere outside of the Feywild. And the thing with Vanishing Ruins in the Feywild itself, time isn't exactly linear in the Feywild, and the Vanishing Ruins are kind of the exemplification of that aspect, where the ruins themselves will just appear randomly in the Feywild. Sometimes they are from far in the future, sometimes they are from far in the past, and they can be literally from anywhere and any when. So being able to figure out exactly what this was depicting and whether this was something that happened before or hasn't happened yet was never something that was able to be figured out. And with how young Arai was when it happened, he probably wasn't privy to what happened because of the discovery. Because again, he was a little kid, and he probably just wanted an ice cream sandwich and a nap.
No, he wanted to help Dad kill the monsters.
Well,
Oh
that
my
too.
God.
But I mean, after everything
That
was
time.
done.
Well, the reason why I bring that up was because do we see anything similar in terms of architecture, art, markings at the top of the ruins as we're looking around?
Arai, why don't you roll me a history check? See what you can remember. See, as the
All
rest of
right.
you guys would have, for the most part, only seen what was kind of described to you from Arai.
I actually have something in history. I got a 12.
12. Cool. So, thinking back to that picture, the like city that it depicted was, for lack of a better term, was taller than this one. Again, big spires and the things like this, and this simply just doesn't have that. Again, this almost kind of looks like, I don't want to say suburbs, but you know, it's these little kind of houses that don't seem super connected to each other. Like, cities in general have like a flow to them, and you'll see roads, and you can generally see where people travel in that based on the roads and that. And this city just doesn't have that. Like, there's some buildings that seem to be kind of on their own and don't have anything kind of resembling a road connecting them to the rest. And then there will be, you know, some buildings that are clustered together really closely, and then other ones that almost seem like they weren't planned correctly, because they'll be at like odd angles, and their lines will be like askew with other buildings and that. So it's a strange ruin, especially again, Arai, with your experience exploring ruins like this. If this was a city, it looks like it was a mistake that people just never corrected.
Over and over and over.
Yeah.
Lots of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Never got fixed.
Except this is the top level.
Yeah, as far as you guys can tell. So, and I will say, where you guys are right now, the city itself is in a bit of kind of a basin kind of thing. So you guys are actually above the city, probably about like 30 or 40 feet, if like we're measuring from like the top of the buildings, and there's a slope that leads down to it.
Who's closest to Arai?
We're all kind of grouped together.
Who wants to bite the bullet?
Pick me. I'll do it. Don't throw me too far.
Oh, now. I need your sharpshooter skills. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm in.
Everyone duck. No, Arai was basically just going to grab someone and get really excited and start explaining how the city just looks like it's a disorganized mess, and it's really cool and wonderful, and it makes no sense.
Mm.
I will say one thing you guys don't notice. There is
A
no...
big scary monster behind you.
Yes, there's a giant Cthulhu.
Nope.
There's no veil.
Oh, that's what I was wondering. That's what I was gonna ask. Can you see the veil from the bottom?
Yeah, normally in something like this, like the veil, again, because it's heavier than the air, anything like this literally is kind of like a cup. And so coming from beneath the veil...
There's no veil inside. Like, you
there-
didn't fill up.
Yeah. Theoretically, there should be veil, and you guys don't see anywhere for the veil to kind of drain out, other than obviously whatever is underground.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I guess for context, because we climbed up from
Mhm.
the veil,
Yeah.
I think it's like it was like 150 some odd when you guys finally made it. when you two made it to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really
No, the thing just goes on. But just remember, when you guys first got to this island, it was beneath the veil.
That's
And
what he's saying is there's no way for the veil to come out. So if you fill a cup and you pull it straight up, it's still full of water.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this cubbyhole didn't unfill with water, or didn't get filled with veil at all. Right?
well,
Yes.
so I was saying
It's
like so this
pretty
is like a yeah.
Yeah.
That's so it's this yeah. So I'm saying the crater is kind of like really deep.
Yeah, it's a basin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it goes down. Like I said, you guys are at the top, and from where you are to where like the top of the buildings are is about like a 40, 50 foot drop. So the bottom of the basin is probably about 60 feet down before you start getting into the underground stuff. So if anyone wants to figure out a parabola,
Yeah, who wants to suffer the curse of the abyss?
I do.
Aside from all the city structures, there's no like trees or anything. It's all like dead earth here. It's all like just kind of wasteland.
There's nothing that would even indicate that vegetation
Life.
used to exist.
Yeah.
Like, again, another thing extremely common with cities in general is they will have places for natural life to exist. Even in Abia, which is almost entirely, the island itself is almost entirely developed. They had little areas where grass could grow and trees could grow and things like that because people in general don't do well when living in an entirely artificial setting. They like to have some kind of nature around them. And there's nothing to indicate that, like, there's no planters next to any of these buildings. There are no areas that would can be considered parks. Nothing.
Yeah, because I was thinking we could probably carve some trees, make some sleds.
The buildings themselves, do they look like they're made out of the same sort of materials?
Another good question. Roll me an investigation check. Anyone that wants to kind of explore that idea, you can make investigation
Okay.
checks.
I'm gonna roll as well.
Act two
Got a
little roll.
15. 14.
Okay.
11.
All right.
6.
6.
Those are building.
Did you get a 1?
Awesome.
Smeg? Yeah. All right. So.
No.
Pickle Circus. What the hell? Pixel Circus. These pickle dice. They're effective.
So, Arai, you're kind of almost mesmerized by the chaos of the ruins themselves. You know, again, this ain't your first rodeo, but this is the first time you've ever seen such disjointed and just nothing about this seems to make any sense. And you can't understand how, even on accident, that these problems wouldn't have eventually been fixed. Reggie, you're kind of out of your element in this particular instance. As much as you're relatively experienced with high society, ancient ruins and things like that, beyond being able to tell the land value of some of them, this just isn't it for you. Aoi, on the other hand, part of your martial training, you didn't get a ton of it because you left school before
Really going into it?
going into too much into kind of tactics and warfare, which is considered like an upper level coursework, because eventually Eldritch Knights, in addition to being battlefield participants, Eldritch Knights that graduate from this academy are meant to be battlefield commanders. And so you would have gotten a lot of instruction on battle tactics and siege warfare and things like that.
So West Point.
Yeah. You had a little bit experience as far as being able to tell load-bearing walls and things like that, because those are important things for infantry troops to know. And looking through this, you notice that the vast majority of these buildings are all built from the same material that you can't recognize. You're a little bit too far away to be able to really look into what it is, but you're not familiar with any buildings that were built that look like this. However, near the center, you can see a cluster of buildings that, from your experience, they're not worn down due to time or the veil. You see battle damage on this small cluster of buildings, and they seem to be made out of something slightly different. But it's obviously whatever damaged these buildings in the center, it was not wear and tear and time. There are explosion marks and things that would indicate that some sort of a battle happened there.
Something bad happened here.
Yeah.
Who's the miners? Yeah, they must be like 4 years old. Miners, not
Mine
miners.
is not miners.
Sorry.
You lost me.
Best Star Trek movie ever, Galaxy Quest.
So, most of these buildings seem to be made out of the same type of material, except that one right over there. But it got me as to what kind of material it is.
Well, I guess the only way to truly know what's going on is to might as well speak what everyone else is thinking. We gotta find some way to get ourselves down there.
Aye.
Oh, how nostalgic.
The slope itself is not significant enough that you guys can't traverse it. You'll have to be a little bit careful going down, but it's not deadly or anything.
Oh, well then, what
I'm
are we standing
sliding-
around for?
Sliding down.
Reggie is sliding.
Yeah, go down, just don't go back up, otherwise you'll probably throw up.
It's no
Smegway,
It's no worse than any
put your
street.
hands in the air.
It's no worse than any street in Seattle walking down.
Or San Francisco. I just imagine Crexty just hopping on Ogon and like, yeah!
Yay, boy!
Yeah! Going full on Falcor. Ba-da-da-da, Sorry.
I was just
Reliving
imagining
my childhood.
I was just imagining like a stone slab like Bossing Say.
Yeah, that did it too. So as you guys go down, it takes you better part of about like 10-ish minutes to get down to the point where the slope kind of settles, and you guys can walk normally.
Oh my friggin' shins!
And you're about, let's say a half mile outside the city at this point.
I think to speak, the reason why Smegma got a 1, he's paranoid. It's just like he's like, okay, we're down here. Y'all remember the warnings I gave you about the crew, right? Group of narratives, like, and he starts and he shows Minor Illusions, Cindy, you know, the twins, you know, Tetsa.
Okay.
No one go off on their own.
Dang
Gotcha.
it.
So
Agreed.
I
I
walked
almost said tag you're it and took off running to the first building.
Now,
So what do y'all want to do?
Where'd you get that red shirt from?
oh no. It's more like a mob shirt if you ask me.
So is there any of I know you said we're about half mile away from the city.
Mhm.
Close to us, is there any
Thing.
like rubble, or are there other buildings, or is the city that you're referring to is what I always saw that was war torn?
So the city itself is again kind of unique in the idea that the edge of the city is very well defined. There's no wall or anything around the city, but you can see exactly where the city ends. And once you get past that point, there is nothing. It is completely smooth rock.
Okay. Does the rock look like what we can see the buildings? Like, do they look like they're the same color or sheen, or like could it be the same? I'm gonna go up and explore a wall eventually.
Okay. The rock itself.
Hold on, we're gonna try to eat the rock.
There's nothing kind of particularly interesting about the rocks or the ground itself. It's similar to the rest of the ground you've seen. You do notice that compared to, like if you look at the map, compared to the other kind of rocky area that was to the south of the camp, the rock there is kind of this like deep clay color and consistency, while the rock here is this kind of very weird, kind of pale, almost parchment color. And there is a decent amount of like sand on top of it, but it's not like a desert where there's just sand upon sand upon sand. There's basically this maybe
Rubble
like
sand.
maybe like 6 inches worth of sand sitting on to the top of hard rock, and the sand and the rock underneath it are the same color. Another thing that's kind of strange.
You said there's a map on Roll20?
Well, yeah, the map of the island.
Oh,
You make
My
sure that I'm
screen's-
on the.
The aforementioned ruin type markers are on the very bottom northwest. Oh, sorry, southwest.
Yeah.
my
corner
whole
of the map.
screen was blank. So
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not you. It's not you. I figured it out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there we go.
Cool. Yeah, the zoom on it every so often does weird things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, another thing, again, the more you learn about this place, the more just doesn't make sense. Deserts don't form on top of hard rock. Buildings generally aren't built in this strange pattern. Cities don't just stop without a wall or something physical. Like, everything about this just is wrong. Not in the sense of something bad is going to happen here.
It looks like it was just dropped into the area. or
Not
something
even
like
that. Like, it looks like people actively made the wrong decisions. Like, if you've ever
I'm-
watched someone do something that they're not skilled in, and they just do something wrong, you shouldn't do that. It seems like this entire building, or this entire city was, you shouldn't do that, and no one listened.
I'm gonna yell hello.
So as you do that, you guys do hear, because again, you're in a basin, you do hear the echo off of a bunch of different things, but other than that, not a whole lot.
See, look, we're fine. And I'm just gonna like Smegwig.
Do you remember the people I talked to you about that were like pretty much hardcore killers?
Yes.
They haven't met me yet. And then I'm gonna grab
Mm,
a ride.
mm.
Go ahead and start.
Don't you do it.
Well, are we gonna go investigate, or are we just gonna stand here and wait for people to come to us?
Mm,
I figured we were looking around.
Yeah, I thought we were walking towards the city.
Okay.
I
Okay.
guess so.
So
Walking towards the city.
takes another like 15-20 minutes barely to get to, I guess, closer to 10, because half a mile is not that long, to get to the outskirts of this city. And yeah, as you get close, you can see there's a small cluster of buildings near you. It seemed to be mostly intact from what you can see. There's some holes in the roofs of a few of them, but they're all relatively small, and they all have doors on them that seem to be made of some kind of metal that you can't really identify super well, because it's not only is it covered in oxidation, and the oxidation itself doesn't seem to correspond to a specific metal. Like there's some that's kind of that reddish rust color, and then there's some green, and then there's some blue. So you have this weird kind of rainbow colored oxidation on the door. And yeah, there's 3 buildings, and all of them seem to, and the doors seem to be almost randomly placed in the buildings. Like the first one, the door is dead center in the wall that's facing you. The second one, the door is close to a corner, and the third one, the door kind of opens to the wall of another building, and it's close enough that you can't really tell from where you are which way the door opens, but if it opens outward, it would clip the building next to it. That's how close that particular building is.
Weird.
So what you guys want to do?
Open the doors.
Go into a house
Okay, so which one
or a building.
which one do you guys want to go to first? Do you want the door in the middle, door in the side, or door that may
Door
or may
number
not be able to
1.
open? Okay.
Door number 2, door number 3.
Door number 1. As you guys get there, the door itself has a latching mechanism that you guys have not seen before. It seems that like the handle itself has like a trigger on it that you depress, and then you have to lift the handle and pull it out in order to open the door. But as you go there, the handle itself is rusted to the point that just pulling on it doesn't seem to do anything. And without actually opening it, this door is remarkably solid despite the wear and tear.
Doors!
Hold on. I think I got something for this. Stand back.
Oh God!
And-
And he's like Smegwick remembers the ship, and you decided to
Oh,
roll, and
Lord.
you decided to magically open the chest, and you didn't check for traps.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
No,
I
not
was there
that,
for that
not,
one.
not that. We're all gonna stand back, and I'm
Fuck
just
you!
gonna
And he goes around the corner.
Is it- I was just gonna cast knock on it. That's all.
But you did last time.
Look, we'll stand far enough away.
Yeah.
Behind this wall.
What is the maximum range of knock? 60 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Reggie,
Everyone
gotta
goes
be
back
right
60
there.
feet.
Reggie, make sure that there's like right at that 60-foot mark, and he casts knock on the door.
Okay.
I'm hiding.
There's no locking mechanism on the door, just a latching mechanism that keeps it from blowing open. So knock doesn't do anything.
Well, it
That
should
actually
open the
needs a
door.
loop.
The door isn't locked. Unless I'm misremembering how the spell works. It can either lock an unlocked door or unlock a locked door. This door has no lock.
Oh.
Just stuck. Yeah.
Oops.
It just
Oh,
has a
well
latching
then.
mechanism.
Well,
Doors!
A for effort.
Yeah, Reggie just kind of looks at the door, just going, huh.
Smegwick walks back up. Yeah, of course it doesn't melt your friggin' face off.
So
Well-
what do the rest of you guys want to
You guys wanna-
do?
Would there, like, be a weakness in, like, something that's been oxidized?
Can I investigate the door and figure out how to open it with my
Sure,
tool?
go for it.
Or do I gotta roll?
Obviously,
No.
oxidation and rusted things like that are deterioration of the metal itself. So it is theoretically weaker than it was when it was first built. However, whatever this door is designed to do, it was built to last. So even with the oxidation, it's still pretty rugged.
How large is this building overall?
Probably about 15, 20 feet to a side. So not a massive building.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do like a quick perimeter rock perimeter walk,
Okay.
just to see if there's like any other doors, maybe like a hole that used to be a window or something, and see if this isn't just like a giant solid block with one door in it or
Mhm.
something. So yeah, Reggie's gonna do a lap.
Okay. So while you're doing that, Reggie, Crexy, what'd you get?
Do you want me to roll the Tinker Tools one? Can I roll that one?
Sure. You could use an investigation check, or you could make a Tinker Tools check, whichever you like
Tinker
better.
Tools.
Okay.
12.
12. So, looking over, what it seems to be, like, for lack of a better term, this seems like a blast door.
Oh.
And by that, like, the latching mechanism seems to be a rather large, thick bar that is built inside the door and extends into the wall itself.
Like a safe lock.
Very similar.
Like a
yes.
bank. Okay.
The difference being it has a kind of notch built into it, so you can lift it and pull it out, and then lift it, and then the notch is what keeps it from moving over again.
Okay. Well.
And you cast WD-40.
While that's going on, Reggie, as you go around, you can see there are some kind of cracks in the building itself, none of them large enough to fit through. And the roof has a little bit of damage, not any damage that would go completely through into the inside. But there are no windows on this, and there are no other doors. This is a large box with a single door.
Are the cracks at least large enough for me to try to peek through the cracks into the inside?
Make me an investigation check.
All right.
We do have other buildings that we can try to get into and look around.
Yeah, I was about to say, while Crexney's doing that, and
Don't you leave. Don't you leave. Don't you do
It's
it.
right next door.
Wait. Ogan's going with him.
All right. Alright, gonna go towards the house with the door that'll clip the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, not sure if it will do anything. 8.
Yeah, looking around, you find quite a few different cracks, but they are in strange enough and awkward enough places that finding a way to look through them is proving remarkably difficult. And as far as you can tell, there's no light from the inside. Yeah. However, from DJ Artie, who's a dude that I've known for years, Reggie, take some inspiration.
Oh,
fancy!
All right, how much inspiration we talking?
You just have you have basically DM inspiration, but you can bank it. The way that I deal with inspiration from chat is put somewhere on your character sheet or in your notes somewhere an inspiration token, and anytime you want, you can just burn it to give yourself advantage on a roll. So
all right,
it works the same way as DM inspiration. Nice. You just can have more than one, and it doesn't come from me.
Yay!
All right. Then I will just keep this for now.
So as that's happening, Arai, as you come up to the door that is really close to the wall, you notice that the latching mechanism is on the other side of the door, simply because had it been on the same side, it would have gone through the wall. And then as you test this one, it seems as rusted as the other one.
Ken Arai tried to shoulder his way in.
Make me just a flat intelligence check.
9.
Sure. If you wanna try it.
Change my dice.
I just want to point out I'm so glad we roll now like this versus when we were climbing the wall.
I know. I got rid of all my good rolls, or I used all my good rolls then.
That's
so
okay.
we didn't fall into the veil
Let's
and
not
die.
fight today, guys. Let's just stay local.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and give me an athletics check if you want to try and force your way through the door.
All right.
2. Hits her head. Hits his head.
22.
I'm so
As
close.
you shoulder into this thing, you experience
hits you back.
something that I'm not sure you've ever experienced before. An unstoppable
Defeat. Ooh,
force
first time.
meets an immovable object.
Oh.
As you slam into it, and you're very used, especially in ruins and stuff like that, you're very used to the idea of when all else fails, break it,
Hit it.
which your parents despised because it could cause damage to artifacts and things like that. But you would sit there and watch them spend hours trying to get into a certain place only to find nothing there, or it's all already mostly rubble. And so you learned the fast
Go to
way.
the next door and just kick it.
And so as you kind of shoulder your way into this door, you feel a slight popping sensation as you hit it, and all of the wind is knocked out of you for a second, and you realize that this door is really, really much more solid than an exterior door should be.
The
As
door
you
of the
kind
light.
of
Arise
feel your
not
shoulder.
experienced blast doors before.
Yeah. As you kind of feel your shoulder, you don't think you dislocated it or anything, but you definitely popped it.
Oh, I can do that. You probably don't want to hear it though.
And so, yeah, your shoulder itself is sore. You can see a decent sized bruise starting to form on it.
Hey!
Have to undress to see that, but okay, sure.
Well, you can, let me put it this way. You can feel,
feel
a bruise
Yeah.
forming. Which again is not something you're used to. You have really well developed musculature, and you're used to just plowing through stuff like this, and this is really, really Lamau? Sorry, Automod stopped a message, and the word that it didn't like was LMAOO.
Lemu.
Which
It's the-
Well,
it-
move
it was
to
that-
you.
It was that second O.
I guess it must be because I don't. LMAO is laughing my ass off. I don't know what.
Some of the depending on the sensitivity settings, they will react like certain preset if you have a.
I found out the first boss in The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is called Armos, which are these giant statues, and Automod that will trip Automod. I found out apparently it is either a South American or Latin American slur, apparently. And that's why it trips it. So the
Yeah,
more
There you
that's
go.
what-
So Lamu means something. somewhere.
LMAOO means laughing my ass off, but it can be used more in a more entertaining way to talk about people who have asthma or other breathing difficulties.
really
Yeah.
Hmm.
interesting.
Laughing
the
my
reason-
air out.
And the reason why,
I feel my oxygen out.
My air out, yeah.
and the reason why the Pokemon Company International wants us to pronounce it Arceus instead of Arceus is because, yeah.
Gotta love it. So, getting back getting back to this, and you guys would have heard this loud metallic thud, and I'm not sure if I will leave it up to Arai if there was anything following the thud, like a ugh.
No, he's just gonna be kind of just in shock. Like his shoulder's still against the door. Like
Reggie kind of comes back from around the corner after hearing just the thud. He goes like, "The hell are you doing over there?"
Oh my god.
he's
Something
flexing his arm. Try it.
Was it?
Something
Did
else. Something else
no,
you
you
find
first.
kind of interesting. There's no dent or anything from you hitting the door. Like again, if this is just a piece of metal, even if it has a really solid locking mechanism, you kind of think it should have dented or something from a 22 athletics, and there's nothing.
Now Araya is fascinated. He's going to start touching the door.
That's really
This is my door.
Exactly.
I'm taking it home. You can get it off. It's coming home with me.
Crexty, we need your sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter. I got it. Don't worry. We'll take it home today. It's a door. I can get it.
This is true. Doors.
So, Reggie, you were saying something.
Thomas is just at the boat, and he's just like, "What did they? Oh shit!" And he runs to the door, slams on the fucking.
And you just hear this very far off. Sorry.
Sharpshooter. So, Reggie, you were saying something before I interrupted you.
It wasn't really anything. Reggie just kind of walks back to rejoin the rest of the group, looks between everyone, and looks back at the door. Really? Nothing?
Nope.
Holy.
You okay?
Did the impact of Arai hitting the door do anything to the wall? Did it knock any pieces off, or?
Oh, good question.
Oh.
It didn't. And again, this is something that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
You've never, especially since part of the wall has to be at least partially hollow for the latching mechanism. And
Yeah.
so that particular area should be weaker because it's the,
Yeah.
as far as you can tell, no damage happened to, excuse me, no damage happened to the wall.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm almost wondering if it's magically defended or something.
You know, if we are not having any luck with this door here, around the corner I did find quite a few quite large cracks in just the basic stone wall. Maybe we
Ooh.
maybe we can just find a way to enlarge said cracks and just go in that way.
Arai
Okay.
starts rotating his shoulder.
Not
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Is there
Aras,
any metal or anything on the
Leverage.
floor?
Say that again, Crexney?
Is there any metal or anything on the floor? Like the same type of metal, just like a piece or something somewhere on the floor?
Looking
Yeah.
around, you don't see any metal on the floor, but you do
Okay.
notice the building itself goes seems to continue beneath the rock, like it goes further down than what you can see.
The building was further. Can I move the dirt to see if the dirt moves around it to dig out the building? I'm not digging out the building. I just want to see.
Yeah. Again, there's only about like 6 or so inches worth of like sand on that, and once you get to the kind of bedrock, you can
Is
see
it
the
hard?
building. Yeah, it's solid rock.
Okay.
You can see the building extends beneath.
Underneath the rock.
Yeah. And it's really like the transition is very, very tight.
Okay.
Which again doesn't tend to happen to like when you dig out bedrock and stuff like that, it cracks and breaks and things like that, and then you pour a foundation, and generally around the foundation is something more pliable like dirt or something similar to that. But this rock goes
It's
right
rock.
up to the building perfectly and creates a seam. But you can definitely tell that the building extends below it.
Okay. All the doors are locked in, so are we only checked 2?
Yeah, you've checked it to 2 thus far. The third one is again the one that looks like it may or may not have enough room to open.
That's the one I tried to open.
Oh, that way you went. Oh, sorry. I thought you went to the one that the door was close to the side. Then yeah, the one that you guys haven't checked was the one that's close to the side. Which,
Okay.
if you can do some basic process of elimination,
They're gonna all
that's
be locked.
probably going to be locked too. Seeing as
Fair.
I didn't
Understood.
realize you hadn't checked that one yet.
Fair. Is there any other buildings or just those 3 doors?
I mean, there's tons of buildings around. These are just the ones that you guys came to first.
First. Okay.
So-
Well, do you guys
No,
want to keep going in, or do you want to work these?
I was wondering, are these buildings also the ones that look battle damaged, or is that the ones that we saw way back?
No, the ones that look battle
No, in the
damaged are in the
middle.
very center. And
We're
that
not
will
near them
take
yet.
you guys probably at least an hour or two to get all the way in there, depending on how careful you guys want to be.
Okay.
Here, this is just the kind of outskirts of this. This is a city.
We might as well keep searching in.
Yep, I'm in.
Hey,
Taking out my
Let's keep-
crossbow. Crossbow out.
Have we? Did you say that it's a box for the ceiling, or did you say there was any sort of slope to it, to them,
To
the buildings?
the buildings themselves. Yeah, the roof. It's literally just a box.
It is a box. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting on Ogon and grabbing my sharpshooter just in case we need to take the door with us later.
Okay.
And then I guess we're going into the middle. Headed towards the middle.
Working that way, kind of keeping an eye out, investigating.
Can we see any more buildings that are
There-
in between us and the middle?
Yeah, there's ton. Again, this is entire.
And they all have the
city.
same door?
No. Different different groups of buildings are going to be different. If you guys want to leave these alone and keep exploring, the next building you find, one of the walls is mostly destroyed. It has a door, but it looks like a much more traditional door, and the door itself is kind of hanging off its hinges.
Does this also look like it goes underneath the bedrock as well?
This particular building does not.
Okay.
But you do see the remnants of kind of a staircase in it that has collapsed and has a bunch of rubble in it, making it impassable. I will point out, none of you, other than just trying to open the mechanism, the latching mechanism, you guys didn't try and do anything to latching mechanism to try and fix it or anything. So if you guys
Well, that's why I did
want-
my investigation check, but it didn't do anything, so.
Okay.
I thought Smegweg cast WD-40.
I asked Rexy if she could cast her. If she could cast it before.
Well, I did Tinker Tools to see if I can get the door open, and he said that it was bolted closed, so.
Oh, I thought you were using Tinker Tools to just examine how the door works.
No, try to get the lock open.
Oh, yeah. Again, not locked.
Oh.
It's just rusted. So
Well,
if you
to
can,
get it open, yeah.
yeah. If you guys can find, for lack of a better term, if you guys can find some WD-40 or something to lubricate one of these latches, you think you might be able to get one of them open. It'll take effort, but you don't think these are impassable. You need something to lubricate them because the rust has made it so they just won't normally open.
I
Well, do you guys
think
wanna-
we're better off trying to find another way in.
Well, but there's something.
I'm sure there's something about those rooms, if those are the ones that are going underneath the bedrock, there's something there. Or going down lower. Especially
Right.
since he's saying these ones aren't under the bedrock.
Arai is fascinated by the fact that he was defeated by a door, so he wants to continue to figure this out. But if the party wants to move, then Arai will move with them.
So what do you guys want to do? It's up to you.
Do we even have anything?
Well, I mean, if Rexy wants to try to see if there's anything she can do about, I mean, literally work on the door.
Do you have like oil for Ogon that you use?
I don't think I.
Tools, I don't know.
Let's see what's in here.
I don't know if you can get away with any kind of artificer type chicanery.
Yeah, because it says, well, it's just with the tools. Tools expert, your proficient bonus and doubled. Bonus. I don't know what I'm physically holding that will do anything besides my tools.
If any of you guys have a lantern as opposed to
Yep.
okay, so lanterns have oil. The issue with lantern oil is it's highly flammable, but it does it does work as oil. in the idea that it is a non-polar molecule.
I have a lantern.
Yeah, we got a bunch when we were going into the cloaca.
Yeah, that's right.
So if one of you guys wants to try and use some oil with a combination of Crexing's expertise, you think you can get one of these doors open. Probably take about 20 minutes, though.
I'm
Ah.
happy to sacrifice my lantern.
Okay. Should I do it then?
Actually, wait, hold on. I don't need to sacrifice my lantern. I also just have a flask of oil.
Oh.
That works too.
There you go. Look at that.
Okay.
Magic.
So, yeah.
What were you planning on doing with this oil, Reggie?
Many, many, many things that only a noble does.
Mm,
Anyway, I just I just give the oil to Cruxney, like, here you go, do whatever you need.
So,
Which door do you guys want to open? The one that Arai was defeated against, or one of these other doors?
I mean, if you want-
I vote for the one that Arai tried to punch just for pettiness sake.
Shits and giggles.
Not punch,
Okay.
shoulder into. There's a difference.
Okay. That way you can claim defeat. All right, then I guess we're going to head back and try to open the door, that defensive line.
So as you open the oil and you get slight hints of sandalwood and lavender,
Oh, it's hair oil.
I mean, this kind of hair doesn't come cheap.
So as you sit there and you try and lubricate the doors as
Natural.
much as you can, just because it's a weird locking mechanism that you haven't dealt with before, it takes you a fair amount of time to get enough lubrication to the right spots to get it to work. But eventually you feel this, you guys hear this kind of teeth-shattering metal on metal scraping sound as you kind of get this gunk, and the door swings outward and clips the wall. But it makes it an opening wide enough that a regular-sized, medium humanoid should be able to get in without too much difficulty. It's a little too small for Ogon to fit in, however.
Oh no.
we have defeated you, door!
Arai's super happy and is like, good bunny girl.
Scritch behind the ears.
Yeah.
He's
Is
not
it-
even like
you-
paying attention to her.
But
He's
how-
just like compliments, good bunny girl, and like it's trying to about to go inside. Ugh.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
as you guys get inside, the first thing you notice, it is pitch black.
Ooh.
I have goggles.
Yes.
Night goggles or vision.
So,
we should be able to
if
see.
you put on your night vision goggles, you can see the room itself is the best descriptor for it is disheveled. There are chairs and stools that are kind of scattered around. Some of them are broken. There are tables everywhere. There's also papers everywhere. And then on the tables, there are various devices that you can't even begin to guess what their use was. A lot of them seem to have one point channeled some sort of magical energy that has long since gone. The other thing that you guys all notice as you step in is the air itself has this very strange, for lack of a better term, is very strange scent to it. Very similar to the scent of ozone, where it just has this kind of weird, kind of almost acrid flavor to it. It
That's-
gets like in the back of your throat a little bit.
That's the smell of ghosts.
Go back and explain what the chairs look like for me, please. I need to make sure they match my interior.
They are relatively basic. Most of them seem to be made of some sort of wood, which again surprises you because with how old these ruins are, wood shouldn't still be around. But then the fact that a lot of them are broken, they don't seem to have disintegrated due to rot or anything like that. And the tables themselves are, again, mostly made of wood, and none of them
Useless.
seem to have been affected by the ravages of time at all.
Arai's gonna walk over to the table that has the magical devices and papers on them and see if he can identify like any sort of, does he recognize the writing? Is there a pattern to it? Does the technology
due to the fact
look
that
like...
there's no light in here, even with dark vision, all
Oh.
you see is in
That's right,
shades of
there's no
gray.
light.
So you can't actually see what's written on any of these things because
We have a
without light-
lantern.
Sure,
haven't
if
used.
someone wants to use one.
I guess
I don't know.
if someone mentions papers, Smegwick will light his bullseye lantern.
Okay. So once there's some light in here, significantly easier to see, and you guys can all see. It looks like a tornado came through here. Like just there's papers on the floor, and a bunch of chairs are broken and things like that, and
Interesting, considering this place was locked up drum tight.
Broken like they were thrown?
Or shaken like an earthquake.
Good question. I'll let you both roll just flat intelligence rolls. So Crexney and Arai.
That's the wrong... Wait, that's a dice bag. That's not a mouse. Intelligence.
26.
26, okay.
26, not 6.
26, cool.
Oh, good.
Just waiting
15.
on Arai. All right. So between the two of you, and I would say probably Arai is a little bit more familiar with this than Crexney is, but with a 26, it's hard to not get this. Yeah, it does look more like an earthquake than like throwing around and it being ransacked. Crexney, due to kind of the experiences you have had, especially growing up on the docks, you've seen a room that's been ransacked. You know, thieves were, or growing up in the shipping, like they're unsavory types that work on ships and things like that. And so you've seen someone's house that's been burglarized. And it's hard to mistake a burglary for anything other than what it is. It looks like a burglary. This is not that. This looks very similar to earthquake damage.
Okay. Earthquake damage. So it could have damaged when it goes up and down under?
Theoretically
Maybe.
possible.
Maybe.
Or the island itself may just be unstable as well. It's relatively rare to get quote-unquote earthquakes in the Sovereignty, but every so often some of the larger islands have them.
So the inside of the building doesn't have the same type of deterioration damage as the outsides of the building?
Correct. The inside looks relatively pristine, except for,
I wonder.
again, you found there was one kind of crack that goes all the way through, and that area and everything around it is deteriorated pretty nicely. And you'll notice like the paperwork and stuff near that area is mostly kind of dissolved. And
I wonder if those doors are to keep you safe from the veil when it goes under. I wonder.
Stand up to it. Does Smegwick recognize the handwriting on any of the papers he picks up?
Looking it over, it is unlike any language you have ever seen.
I just got
Is there any stairs or anything? Since you said the building goes below the bedrock, can we see any way to go down, or is it kind of just a closed off area?
Make me an investigation check. All right, I will say if you want to roll me a history check.
Smegwick will take out his little ritual book, and he's going to spend 10 minutes casting Comprehend Language.
I got 9.
Okay.
Investigation 9.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, this is a box. Like everything about it is just a box, and you don't see anything on the floor that would indicate something going lower. Which again begs the question: where does the outside go, since it's built underneath the rock? All right, what did you get?
18.
The writing, the technology itself looks shiny to you. But
Ooh,
the
don't touch it.
writing does seem somewhat familiar. However, you can't remember where you've seen it before. You would assume it had to have something to do with a Vanishing Ruin. But as far as which one or anything like that, you got no idea.
Okay. I feel like I've seen this somewhere.
So,
Just
Smegwick,
gonna say
after
that loud.
10
Yeah, I
minutes, you finish casting Comprehend Language, and you look at the text, and the text itself starts to kind of change and still looks like gibberish to you. But it's
What the
gibberish
frick?
that involves a lot of numbers.
Oh, I think this is math equations.
Oh no.
Ah, damn it.
This is, I think, so. This is like some type of formula.
Um,
Or some kind of cipher?
if you
Cipher?
if you've ever, I once I think it was in high school, or no, it was in college. I had a professor just kind of nonchalantly mention a book they were referencing that they were dealing with. And they said, "Well, you guys wouldn't understand any of this." And they said, "It's all advanced calculus." I'm like, "Well, I took calculus when I was in high school and did really well." He's like, "Fine," and he gives me the book, and it literally looked like Greek to me because half of calculus uses Greek letters for variables. And so I don't. If you guys have ever looked at really advanced theoretical math, it looks like gibberish.
Yeah,
And this, even more so, it's not written on the same plane, I guess would be the correct way to say it. Like some of them go left to right, and then every so often you'll see another equation that goes, diagonal. Another one, like these are note pages that people were just randomly writing down notes and equations and things like that. And none of it seems to flow or anything. And without an understanding of the basic math underneath it, it's literally just squiggles and numbers.
Well, maybe we can reference this later.
yeah, maybe try to write it down so we can have a crack at
I'll
it.
say, do you want to
later.
take it with us, or you want to try to
Just
write
take
down? Just take the
Well,
paper.
You literally have the paper. If it's
Yeah.
if it's something we can actually take and
Yeah. The only issue with it is there's a lot of it. Enough so that
he's just like gonna gather up a ream's worth and just like.
okay. Because without having something to keep it in, you guys, because it's all loose leaf paper, you guys just don't have the ability to carry it all with you. So yeah, you get about I would say because it's all loose leaf in that, I would say you get maybe half a ream.
Okay.
Because reams are very nice and they're that and that, and they weigh a ton. But once they've been like separated and stuff like that, they're significantly harder to keep in a ream shape.
Alright.
Can anyone tell I used to sell paper?
Eh.
I work in an office. We don't see like we don't see, there's no stair access now that I have comprehend languages up. There's no indicators of like this way down or kind of a marker type language situation.
I couldn't see anything. My investigation check
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, you didn't have
We
comprehend
can roll
language.
it.
I didn't know if that like
So I
opened up a new avenue.
I will say the lack of, I mean, it's obvious to you this is some sort of kind of scientific place. Like the fact that there's math everywhere and there's all these devices. However, aside from the papers, nothing is labeled. None of the devices have any kind of indication that would indicate writing. None of the walls have any writing on them, which again is kind of weird for somewhere scientific. Literally, the only writing in the entire room is on papers.
Okay. Cresty did take devices, right?
I was about to say we need to take or if we can lift the devices and put them and take them. with
The
us.
devices are attached to the tables, like bolts and things like that.
Well, first of all, how big are they? I mean,
The smallest of them is probably like
okay.
old CRT monitor sized, and some of them are like the size of the table themselves. So they're pretty decent size, and they tend to be relatively heavy. Like the CRT monitor sized one, you guys could probably take with you. It's probably about 20 pounds. But if Crexney wants to deal with the bolts, which again, not something outside her purview.
Just saying, we have a lot more to search for. We may have to be choosy about what we take.
But we can always drop things if we don't
Sure.
want them at a later time.
You're lugging it.
Okay, no problem.
Don't-
Rise
Bag
like
of holding, don't we?
I was about to say, don't I have a bag of hold? I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah.
There is a carrying capacity to it.
well, yeah. Not only is there a carrying capacity, bag of holding at its widest is only about 2 feet wide, and so the device would be kind of awkward to get into it. Is the issue?
Watch me.
These are my favorite
Right.
things.
Arise like crunching the thing to make it fit.
She's sitting there like it's like a Rubik's cube. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
We'll rebuild it. Don't worry. Just take the pieces.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining like those old-fashioned iMac monitors. Crexy just like crushing it.
Turned into one of the rounded corner ones.
And thus the,
curved
iMac was
screen.
born.
Okay, then Araya is going to, if Crexney can take it off for him, he is going to carry it.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to
Okay.
just use, because again, you guys have rope. If you just want to kind of sling it over your back and tie it, that'll work fine.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just because of the shape
Sharp
and everything
shooter?
of it, it's just not something that you can fit into the bag of holding. It's just a little bit too big.
Okay.
Do you have a bag? Yeah. Okay.
So now with the comprehend languages up, which will be up for an hour, he's like I don't know if there's any demarcation sticking out now in the buildings too. It's kind of like what I was leading up to with the languages as well. Now that it's up,
Yeah.
but like you said, so nothing.
These particular buildings, there's no
Markings.
markings whatsoever on
Yeah.
any of them. Not even like a push or pull sign.
Okay.
Like these are, you would think, like compared to the other buildings, these buildings probably would have stood out a bit just because of how blank they are. You know, the other buildings you could see look significantly more like buildings, and these look like blocks. They
Would Arai be able to see any way down? Better than us?
I could. We can also explore.
Just keep exploring. I figured.
Hmm?
I figured keep exploring.
Yeah. Since we found this, like, it was so well preserved
mm-hmm.
versus the other houses weren't. I kind of feel like this is Arai talking to the team, not to the GM. I feel like it would be more, or it would be. We would probably be able to get a lot more out of searching the other houses that were similarly built. Because it seems as we go further in, if
Just
there are more
damaged?
buildings like this one, there's going to be more damage and probably less to glean from.
I mean, really just keeping an eye out for anything we can access.
Yeah. I mean, we can access the doors. Crexney defeated this door that defeated me, so we win.
Each one just takes like 20 minutes to get into.
Yeah. We don't know how much time we have.
I mean, we are how far ahead of the other parties did you say we were, Jody?
At least a day or two, depending on
Yeah.
how fast
Let's say a
they...
day and a half, I think, was what we said.
Yeah.
Depending on how fast they push themselves.
So, okay, guys, thought. Do we want to just, because we can see from the back of the cave, we can kind of see how from the top all of it, right? Like how far back it goes, or not?
When you say it, are you referring to
The cave that we're in.
You mean the basin?
The basin.
Yeah, the basin.
Yeah, you guys. When you guys were at the top, you could see all the way to the other side. The whole city itself is probably about
Right.
7 or 8 miles in diameter.
Do you want to go through or try to figure out what's underneath?
Actually, I
What's
would guess it'd be
underneath
close
it?
to like 15-ish. Sorry.
Oh.
But yeah, that's a big city.
Well, here's my other thinking too. Anything that's like, I don't know if it's anything that is battle damage. My kind of thinking was things that were attacked could possibly have been points of interest, depending or not if they were actually targeted as opposed to just like bombardment.
True.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can always go to the center and just check it out. We know where these doors are, how to get back. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of time.
Yeah. It just feels like this is securely enough built that. And were there any other buildings that we could see that were similar to these basically bunkers?
When you were at the top, you were far
Yeah.
enough away that it was hard to pick out specific buildings too much. You
Okay.
just happened.
It's
These
negative.
just happened to be the first 3 buildings you guys came across.
Okay.
And when you went a little bit further and then came back, these are the only 3 buildings that you guys have seen that have been like this thus far. Again, you've explored at less than
block.
a percent of the city.
Right.
Like, there's so much more city out
Yeah.
there. And if you
Right.
really wanted to
Okay.
explore this entire city, again,
We
from
don't have time.
your experience, like this would be a month-long expedition, Arai.
I'm kind of
Matter-
wondering maybe we shouldn't like go to the epicenter and then maybe possibly work our way out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Okay.
All right.
To the middle.
So Rai's going to put down the a hunk of metal that he's currently carrying around. 'Cause
Oh,
we can
boy.
come back for it, the worst case.
Okay. So as you guys
Okay,
exit
keep the
and
door
start
closed.
heading into the city proper, again, you start seeing more buildings that the vast majority of the buildings that you guys find all have stair systems that seem to go into a basement of some sort for them. And most of them have rubble making them impassable. There have been a few that the rubble was light enough that you guys, using the bullseye lamp and everything, could see into it, and you can see the stairs descend pretty far. And unlike what you would kind of expect of the stairs to, once they get to the edge of the building, they would you'd hit a landing and they turn. They don't. They just keep going down.
And just to get this out of the way, including the building we actually looked into, as well as what we're seeing, we're not seeing any evidence of bodies, are we?
No. Thus far, you've seen nothing to indicate any sort of humanoid remains or any sort of biological life forms in here. No bones, no leftover food, nothing. In fact, the only source of civilization other than the buildings themselves have been the notes that you took.
Mhm.
These places seem to be so well fortified. I mean, the city planning, sucks, but say what you will about that, but they sure as hell knew how to make something last.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that the veil might actually come in here because it melts things, right?
It's highly corrosive.
So that's why we don't see no bodies or nothing on the outside.
Yeah.
So I'm also kind of wondering, like, these are just the outside buildings. So I'm kind of wondering maybe these people had, like, in times of like severe catastrophe, like maybe like they all went somewhere. Yeah.
We can go down on one of the
No,
buildings.
we're still going to the epicenter. Still
Yes.
making our way.
Downtown.
Down, walking fast.
Learned how to play the piano once, or at least the right-handed part. I spent years trying to learn, and I used to write music for piano too. And I have the hardest time playing with both hands simultaneously. I have no idea why. When I was a kid, I apparently used to be able to do it because we had piano class in school. But nowadays, I can play saxophone, clarinet, any wind instrument that I want. But for whatever reason, I can't play piano with two hands.
So Rushy would be genuinely impossible for you.
The fleur-de-lis is impossible for me currently. And that's like I understand how it's supposed to work. My hands just don't work that way. Yeah. The only songs I've ever been able to play on the piano with two hands are the songs that I wrote. And they were not. I used to think I was a talented composer. I don't think that anymore.
No.
I had some cool stuff, but it was really, really, really basic. If I put some effort into perfecting my composing, I probably could have made something pretty cool. But I did write 2 movements of a symphony that I'm rather proud of, but they were all basic. One of them literally just uses the circle of fifths in a round. That's all it is.
Dang.
And I had a friend that was listening, because it was written for a class as a final project, and I had a friend listening to it, and they went, "Oh, circle of fifths!" I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so
how far are we?
Yeah, you're thinking again to get to the center of the city. You're looking at hours and hours and hours to travel, because it's a massive city. Probably about originally you guessed is going to take you like hour and a half, 2 hours, and then as you go further, you realize that because of the slope and because of the angle in that, you'd kind of underestimated just the massive size of the city. You think it'll probably take about half a day to get to the center, going around all the rubble and stuff like that.
All right. What do you guys want to do? Reevaluate or keep going?
Well, I mean, and so we're still nowhere near the battle damage type.
Yeah, the battle damage is in the very center of the city.
That's so half a day away from that.
Yeah.
I mean, we can keep.
Which again, you guys have more than enough time to get to the center of the city and back out before, because you started relatively early in the morning. So.
I mean, I'm okay if you want to see what's in the middle. I know you'll probably have experience with anything that's a battle type anything, and see if we can find anything. Worst case, we know how to get to these doors. Worst case, if people get in here, we know they can't open the doors.
You can also just looking out for anything that looks like a point of interest. I'm gonna I think we've gone far enough in, so maybe I'm just gonna be like, okay, I think this is gonna be one of the key points to do a little brief looky-loo. Spitty, go up. Spitway just goes shoots straight up. All right, I'm gonna take a look through his eyes, and I'm just gonna start working. I'm just gonna look at the layout of the city now that we're more directly. I know we're not dead center of it yet, but we are
inside,
more in the city, and we're gonna kind of get a straight up aerial type view and get a look at that. And if I can, the purpose of this, get a look out, see what we have here, see how it looks, and then he's gonna compare notes with everybody and show him. He's gonna cast minor illusion just for the general layout if he can.
Okay. Again, as far as you can tell, because you've already seen an aerial view from it, you don't really learn that much more. It's a city that was built wrong. Yeah. Repeatedly. And so you find more of buildings that were built too close to each other, roads that don't quite work as roads, they will turn too sharply, or they'll be too narrow in some places to have decent, even footpath travel. The city is just wrong. I mean, if they had intended to build a useless city, it would have been hard to get it this wrong.
Okay, so these people clearly had formulae of some type, really complex equipment. We don't know off the top of our heads what the hell they do. They
There's
were
no way.
clearly interested in this place for some purpose. Like maybe they were studying something here. I mean, they were about research, I'm guessing. Because people who are smart enough to, like the paper, like people who are smart enough to do this would not have a reason for building up the most
Just
jackassery
horrible.
of city planning.
Does the staircases in the house all the houses that we're looking into, does that seem to make sense in its placement of the house?
Good question.
Roll for it.
For the most part, yeah. I will mention, in all the houses you guys find something that you never, and I guess this would be kind of where Rye makes this connection. Again, having dealt with ruins and stuff like that, something extremely common to find in ruins is living quarters. You may not find beds, but you find indications that people live places, things like fireplaces or fire pits, things like that. You have not found a single place that you could put a bed, a single fireplace, nothing. There is nowhere to live, quote unquote, in this city that you guys have found. And adding that to where all of these stairs are located, if these were living dwellings, the staircases would make sense where they were put. Simply placed, they don't really make sense. However, if these are auxiliary, thank you, rooms like attics or basements or things like that, where you're not really designed to live in them, that makes a lot more sense.
You know, they live underneath. I'm telling you guys, let's go get it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, maybe if we can find a way down, maybe it also will be easier traveling, getting to the center.
We have some of the houses that we passed that we were able to see into. We can probably clear the stairwells and go down.
The interesting thing is, every single housing structure, they're all rubble. For the stairs access, Jody?
All the ones that you've seen thus far.
So far.
You haven't explored every single one of them, but they all have some sort of damage. A lot of it seems to be like pieces of the roof falling
Just
down
falling.
and that.
Nothing looks intentional, like they destroyed the access ways.
I was kind
Not
of
that
wondering.
you have seen thus far. Again, because your goal has been to get to the center of the city,
Yeah.
I assumed you guys weren't spending a ton of time in each house.
That's fine,
or even
yeah.
exploring each house, because you just wouldn't have the time to do it. But the few, you've probably seen a dozen different houses at this point. They all had some sort of stairs going down, and all of them had something making the stairs impassable.
I vote for trying to figure out how to get down there.
Yeah.
Seconded.
Which one do you want to do? You want to go back to the center, or you want to try to figure out what's beneath?
We haven't found a center. We can just I figure we'd go look at the nearest domicile we have around here and start.
That's what I'm saying. Did you want
Yeah.
to continue towards the center, or just go down here?
So the benefit of going towards the center is, so these already have rubble and stuff, like houses that are broken down.
Destroyed.
Precisely. The structures, the houses that were in the distance, they looked, I know you had said that they looked worn, torn, but did they, sorry, that word is stuck in my head. Were there any that looks like fairly more intact? Like, should we keep exploring to see if there is a cleared stairwell? Because if they're all blocked, that seems like
time.
it could be more intentional.
See, the center complex of buildings have
destroyed.
kind of explosion damage and things like that done to them. From the fact that you saw it from so far away, you couldn't see all of the buildings in the complex. But the only damage they have is from battle. They don't have kind of the wear and tear that everything else has.
Did we see any deterioration on the stairs going down? Like what we had seen on
The walls on the
walls and the
outside.
doors?
The one
Or the one we could see down?
the one building that the rubble was clear enough that you guys could kind of look into it, the stairs seemed slightly worn, but nowhere near the level that the buildings on top were.
Okay, worn, not deteriorated?
Yes, worn, not deteriorated.
Could one of us try to figure out what kind of like explosion hit the area?
We're not in the center yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you were to
okay.
get to the center, you probably could, but you'd need to be
Okay.
closer than you are right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Right now,
still,
you've been
what,
you've
half
been
a day
traveling
away.
for about an hour, and a day. The way that I deal with travel in a day is you generally a normal day's travel is 8 hours.
Okay.
So you've been going for about an hour. You probably have at least 3-ish hours before you get to the center.
All right.
I think we've determined that we want to try to figure our way down,
Okay.
not the center. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys want to try and clear, probably the one that's going to be easiest is the one that you could look through. And that in and of itself, because of the kind of large pieces and how weird they are placed, it's probably going to take you at least an hour to clear the rubble.
Even with a rise super strength? Oh yeah,
And Ogon?
he lost the shoulder. Never mind, just kidding.
It's just
Um,
sore.
My question to you guys would be, how do you want to try and clear the rubble?
If it's at all advisable. Remember what I did with my transmuted flaming sphere when I turned it from fire into ice?
Oh.
Oh. Oh wow,
I
that
can-
was a long time ago.
I can also do that with the other elemental forms. I can make it acid. I can make it thunderous.
Mm.
Mm.
It only lasts
Yeah,
a minute, but I could,
Maybe.
Min-
Yeah.
Minutes all we need.
I don't think you can do thunder damage, can you?
Yeah, elemental. It's pretty much anything from the. Let me just put it up. It's not all damage types, but it's the elemental. It's like I can also do poison. It's weird. Where's the one time when I'm actually looking over it? Transmute.
Oh yeah, that's not. I was
Basically-
thinking of the
basically
flaming. I was thinking of like, what's it called? The elemental ball one. And I'm
Chromatic
like,
orb.
Yeah, chromatic. I was thinking
Chromatic
chromatic orb. I'm like, chromatic orb can't do sonic damage. But you're not using that. You're using a sorcerer thing.
Yeah.
Ignore what I'm
Actually,
saying.
I believe chromatic orb. You can choose that type. Yeah. Poison. Poison, cold, fire, lightning, thunder. Actually, God, I should actually look at the paragraph. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder.
Really?
So I can choose anything I want. But like, if I'm doing flaming sphere, I can transmute it.
Yeah. I never considered thunder damage being part of the quote unquote elemental thing because it's sonic damage. It's sound.
Same for poison.
For whatever reason, poison I'm more okay being an element than sound. I don't know why, but poison for some odd reason makes more sense as an element than sound.
See, for me, the way my brain's working, chromatic, chroma, relating to color, I always thought radiant should be in there.
Thunder damage is not part of the options you could choose for chromatic orb.
I didn't
I'm
think so.
literally, I'm
Oh,
literally
wait,
looking at it.
It is.
Okay.
Oops. My bad.
That's fine. So anyway, yeah, if you want to try doing that, you just have to tell me which thing you're trying because different things are going to affect these differently.
Well, I was thinking, like, obviously this place is like the buildings seem to be set up for. I don't think fire would work. I was gonna like meeting of the minds with Crexney to see if, like, maybe structurally speaking, I was thinking like either thunder, or maybe acid to help cover way. I don't want, like, I'm worried about causing structural integrity issues and making a situation worse. That'd be something we could like do together.
Yeah. Would we be able to investigate that rubble and see what would be the best option to move most of it?
Sure, if you want to, just a flat intelligence check.
Can I help with that just because of Arai's experience being in ruins and seeing how things shift and breaking ruins?
Sure, I'll give Crixie, if you want to roll that with advantage, you can do that.
The first one's 24. Let me roll another one.
No. Go ahead and see if you can get a nat 20.
Yeah, crit fish.
24.
24.
All right, so
Digital dice. I said what I said.
not good. 24,
First
not
time.
good enough. Take a 1.
Oh.
So, looking at it, the first thing that you notice, the buildings themselves seem to be highly resistant to corrosion in general. Probably,
Acid's probably out.
Yeah, acid would probably be next to
Out.
useless
Not
on
good.
them.
Yeah.
Fire, I mean, it's rock. It's a type of stone that you're not familiar with, but stone tends to be relatively resistant to heat. Cold, kind of the same thing.
Right.
You don't think that's gonna. The thunder damage, you're not sure on, but it doesn't seem like any of the buildings are particularly created to withstand any sort of sonic damage.
And they're
Remarkably enough, sonic damage not an extremely common thing to deal with.
That's what I was thinking.
So, if you had to take a guess, I'm trying to think. Can you just list off the different elements that you can do, Smegwick? And I'll tell you which one Crixie
I
thinks
put
it would
it,
best.
I put it in chat.
Oh, thank you.
acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, thunder.
There we go.
Yeah, you think probably thunder is going to be the one, because everything else, like acid, poison would have no effect on it. Acid ain't going to do it. Fire and lightning aren't, or fire and cold aren't, and then lightning. I mean, these buildings are by definition grounded.
Okay, yeah, could I help him out with that thunder damage?
Would
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
can I-
Not Aoi. Sorry, Crixie.
Okay.
Oh.
were you-
I was
You
just
had a
saying for thunder, is that more like movement, like sound?
Thunder damage is literally sound damage.
So it would be like
it's-
blowing the rocks out.
Yeah, effectively sonic. Like anytime you use like thunder
Yeah.
wave is a super loud
I gotcha.
noise, so that's what thunder damage is. It's noise, sonic damage.
You know those assholes who like they have their sound systems cranked up on
Yeah.
the bass so goddamn much?
Mhm.
Like,
Did you feel it? Yeah.
yeah. Imagine that
Gotcha.
weaponized.
Yeah.
So would that cause any issues as far as you're talking about these bad guys who were after us?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, we're going to be in a structure. I figured
If
you already screamed.
if you were using something like
At
thunder
the
wave,
entrance.
like thunder wave specifically states that people can hear you for something like a mile. Like it's a really long thing. Because you are basically turning flaming sphere into sonic sphere, I'm going to
Yeah.
say that
It's still a
the
radius
explosion
thing.
sound is not going to be the same.
Yeah, the mechanics are still in place. I just changed the damage type.
I'm thinking it from a mechanical aspect of how it works. I'm thinking more along the lines of like killing kidney stones with sound waves than, shouting at people loud enough to break their bones.
And none of these things look like we can just move them with strength. It looks like we have to actually.
If you want to go that route, you can. It will take a while. Like they're a lot and they're very heavy, and
Yeah.
you guys will have to come up with some kind of system to be able to move them. Because while Arai is strong, they're wedged in there pretty tightly. So that is a viable option. The difference is going to be how long it takes you to get through is basically what
Fair.
it is.
Okay.
And how many different ways you can accidentally hurt yourselves while doing it.
Yeah.
Drop a 500-pound rock on somebody and it's going to be painful for them. Stuff like that.
All right. Well, thunder it is. I'll be outside.
Okay.
Well, I figured between you and me and whoever else, like I'll coordinate and then I'll just at last minute I'll direct the blast.
Hi.
Okay. So the room is big enough for us all to be in there with this blast, or should some of us, three of us?
If you guys
two of
want
us
to be
walk
outside, again, half the walls in this building don't really exist. So if you want to be outside, you can still observe.
Opposite direction. Okay.
Yeah.
Just get out of the way.
It's not going to impact the integrity of the rest of the building, correct?
Guess we're gonna find out, aren't we?
That's why I was hoping we work together to avoid.
Why don't you go ahead and roll me? I'll let you choose. You can choose insight or anything intelligence based.
Could I also roll insight, just in case?
Sure. I mean, again, your very basic sapping training would have included a little bit of structural integrity.
Oh, I don't
Can
know
I
if
do
it's
survival because Orion knows where to run when buildings
really?
fall?
I'll take that. Survive. I'm okay with that.
I was hoping investigation.
Oh, my survival's higher.
To be perfectly honest, Smegwick, you just don't have the training to know. Like
If
you,
this building will collapse on us or not.
yeah. You just don't have that kind of training.
That's why I'm trying to ask the people with the big brain to help me.
Yeah. No. Between
I got
Ari
the
and
thunder. Someone use their brain.
Ari and Arai. Arai, what did you get for your survival check?
16.
16. Okay. And then
6.
Ari, 6. Okay.
6.
So yeah, this is a little bit beyond. Like you could figure out whether or not you could put a door in one of the walls. But as far as figuring out like if this is going to damage the foundation, you're not sure. Arai, on the other hand, you think this plan can work. You think it's also possible that if it goes wrong enough, the building itself will collapse.
Oh. So you don't know either.
So you think there's a better than average chance that, given Smegwig's control of his magic, you think there's a better than average chance that he could do it without too much difficulty. But there is a danger that the foundation could be damaged enough that the building could collapse. The building could, because obviously there's open area underneath the building. The building could just fall into whatever's below it. And it might drop 10 feet. It might drop 1,000 feet. You guys don't know.
So what if I rolled a nat 1 on chromatic orb? It would possibly trigger some things to fall.
Possibly. What I'm going to have you and Smegwick do is just make kind of spell attack rolls that will cover all of the spells that you use over the next 10-ish minutes to try and dig your way in. Because it will take more than one casting of any of the spells that you guys have to fully clear this stuff out. It'll be up to you to decide how many castings you want to use and what spells you want to use. Because theoretically, Smegwick, you can change any spell that does elemental damage into thunder, right?
Any type of elemental spell into another type of elemental.
So theoretically, you are not limited to just using flaming sphere.
Well, it's the spells I have. If I have to transmute, like for example, Dragon's Breath, I don't really need to transmute because I can make anything I want when I select Dragon's Breath. But Hellish Rebuke, for example, and Chromatic Orb,
Yes,
I can just
if the
select.
floor attacks you.
Yeah.
The floor turns to lava.
Oh, we never yelled at an inanimate object when we stub our toe. Ow, you stupid thing!
There's a difference between stubbing your toe and being attacked by the
And falling
inanimate
1,000.
Unfortunately, Misty Step isn't an option because it has to be somewhere I can see.
Well, you can again, this particular one, you can see a little bit past the rubble. So if you wanted to Misty Step down, you could. You would just
Okay.
be unable to get back
On your own.
without misty stepping.
True.
But if you want to go that route, you 100% can.
also
Would there
do-
be like enough space on the other side for me to like attack from that side?
Yeah, if you wanted to do that. Again, because stairs go down, if rubble was
Yeah, I'm worried
knocked
about crushing
loose,
That's
it could
true.
come at you. But again, as long as you have
Yeah.
enough misty steps, you can see the other side,
Yeah.
and it's a
only
bonus
ha-
action spell.
Yeah.
So we can do a
yeah.
combination of like your spells and brute strength and just see how much we can.
Yeah, you guys can do that.
If it
Yeah,
starts to
I'll-
look like the spells are going to damage or cause more damage than good, then we can switch to just brute strength and figure it out that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on Misty Step. I only have 2 second level slots for it.
Okay. So, if that's the plan that you guys could come up with, I'm going to have Smegwick and Owie go ahead and just make me just flat spell attack rolls.
Okay.
And then Arise, since you're going to be helping them,
Oh,
why don't you make
nice.
me an athletics check?
21.
That's not bad.
I choose the one die I can't. Okay, that's 11. 11 plus spell attack, dirty 20.
320, cool. So 20 and 21. So starting with Smegwick and Owie, you guys kind of get into a groove where you're both kind of working with each other. Smegwick, are you specifically using, like, what spells are you using, Smegwick?
I'm gonna kick it off with a flaming sphere just to like at least get the ball rolling because it lasts a minute.
No pun intended?
Yeah.
Because the ball. Sorry. And then Owie, are you using Chromatic Orb?
Chromatic Orb Thunder.
Okay, cool. So you guys start off and with a 20, a minute of Thunder Sphere, and I'm going to say you can use up to 3 castings of Chromatic Orb, Owie, depending on how many you want to use. The more you use, the faster this goes.
Okay, I'll use 2.
Okay, so the first hour's worth of work, you guys are able to clear a pretty decent proportion. Arai, did you roll your athletics check? What do you got for me? 24, yeah. And then Arai would come in, and as you kind of broke pieces in half and things like that, Arai would come in and take some of the smaller pieces so you didn't have to effectively pulverize everything. And after about an hour of work and just the single the single casting of Thunder Sphere, sorry, not an hour. After about 20 minutes, you guys have cleared
We'll just point of order because I want to play fair. The sphere only lasts
I know.
1 minute. Okay.
so a combination of the sphere and then the 2 chromatic orbs and Arai in 20 minutes, you guys are able to clear about half of the way down. Which is pretty decent time, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, is there enough space for us to, like, climb through?
Not yet.
Can
There
we
was
see anything on the stairway down that's different? Or does it just look like a wall?
you do notice, because you couldn't really see the stairs too well because of the rubble and everything, you do notice the stairs themselves are black in color. They kind of look almost like obsidian without the like glass sheen to it. Like they're the color of obsidian, but they're still rocks. They're not
Rock.
they're not glass.
Friggin'
Okay.
Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then you hear this
Shit!
Run,
Found dynamite! Shit! Shit!
Okay.
So it's Dane creepers. Then what are
I
the
was scared.
Slender
I
Man
was scared I
things
found
called?
a TNT block.
Hmm.
You never remember what they're called, but if you look at them, they come for you and they're a pain in the ass.
Well, they were Slenderman or something.
Something like that. So,
Yeah, it's bad enough, but watching Steve players in Smash Bros.
so, you think with another casting of Thunder Sphere, and your and probably one more casting of Chromatic Orb with Arise help, you think you can probably get the rest of it cleared in another 20 minutes. If you want to save your spells, it will take longer. So, what do you guys
I'm
think?
cool. I'm cool with using that because my intent is then to, I'm going to use the sorcery because I figure it's fair to use it from the sorcery side, and use my sorcery point, and then I'm going to do the coffee lock thing, and I'm going to use my warlock spells to recover, do the spell slot point exchange. So I will be using another casting, and then
Okay.
I'll be doing the switch with sorcery points and spell slots.
Okay.
If it doesn't look weak enough that once it gets weak enough, is there a chance that one good dragon breath could blow it right open?
No, I again, if you both use the spellcasting, it's 20 minutes. If either of you
Okay.
decide not to, then it'll take closer to an hour. That's
Okay, then I'll
no
use
rolls
Chromatic Orb.
required. Then that's what you
Okay. Yeah, I'll use Chromatic Orb again.
do. All right. So you guys are able to clear away the last remaining bits of the rubble, and you can see again the stairs go down a pretty significant amount. And as far as you can tell, there are no kind of railings or anything. Once you get from underneath the house, it seems like it's just a staircase with
Do we
nothing
see
on
any
the other
light?
side.
Was he
Is
light
the
or anything?
staircase like?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to know: is this staircase like you go down a bit, turn around, you go down a bit, you turn around,
From-
or is it all just going straight down in a
From
single direction?
What you can see where you are, you do not see a landing. But because of the angle and everything, you really can't see more than about 20 feet. So it's possible there's a landing further down that goes. You just can't see it yet.
By the way, did the rocks seem like they were deliberately placed there, or was it just wear and tear?
Not that you can see. At least in this particular case, it looked like things fell and
Okay.
blocked it. If
Just in
someone had
case.
intended to block it, there was better ways they could have done it.
Okay.
So, if you guys want to kind of descend down, you can start doing that. From where you are right now, the light just doesn't seem to penetrate super far into.
So there's no light at the bottom. We can't see nothing.
No, you're still mostly blind, looking down. You're looking into a deep dark hole.
Well, I know we have lanterns. Can anyone actually cast a light cantrip?
No.
I can try and see if I can make myself glow, but
She gets mad enough, she glows.
She can-
Yeah, just
Just
pick her up,
shake-
snap.
Snegway, just go talk to her. Go talk to him.
You shake her
He'll glow.
like a glow stick. Like she pops her knuckles and then you shake her. Him, I'm sorry. I've been doing so good today.
You
have
talk-
been, yeah.
You talk
I
to him.
love-
You talk to him. He likes petting you.
That's not gonna make
I
him
like petting
mad.
you too.
I don't tolerate that.
There you go. Exactly why
Doesn't
he
mind.
should pet you.
I mean, if push comes to shove, I still have my lantern, so
So you guys have sources of light.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you guys will just walk down, and because the night goggles don't help anything, they only let you see how far.
Oh, they let you see 60 feet. The problem with the goggles of night is dark vision in general is just
Mhm.
black and white. So that's the only the reason they weren't super useful in that building is
Okay.
you can't read anything when you're using night vision because it doesn't because everything's in black and white. Text doesn't show up on paper using night vision.
Fair.
You have to have some sort of light source for it. But yeah, no, your goggles of night will allow you to see as well as you can.
I'm just saying, at least you can put those on and walk down.
Yeah.
At least I can have better vision if I'm first walking down. Just go and see what we can find, and then turn the light on when we get down closer to the bottom. Because we don't know how far it is, how long
Yeah.
we're gonna have to walk.
Hmm.
What do you guys think? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
So
so we're headed down.
as you guys start heading down, it takes you longer than you think it should. Because once you get from basically underneath the building, there are walls around the stairs while you're underneath the building. But once you're out from underneath it, the stairs are just existing in a void. So there's no railing, there's no nothing, it's just stairs. And as you keep going down, it takes about 50 feet before you get to your first landing. And if you take your bullseye lantern and kind of shine around, you can see stairs from other buildings going down as well. But you guys are in this very large kind of void of nothingness. You can see the stairs turn and they keep going, and it looks like they go down really far.
Oh,
Like
great, guys.
Hundreds of feet, further than your light penetrates. But if you guys look over the edge, you can see very, very far down below. You can see a source of light that you can't really tell what it's from, and it's very, very far away, but something below you is giving off light.
No source of like deterioration or anything on the inside of where we're at. Like the void's gonna get us.
The
Like the veil.
this-
Sorry.
you don't see
No?
any indication
Okay.
of the veil.
Okay. Because we were only 150 feet above the veil last time, so that's
Yeah,
what I was
so
asking.
theoretically, this should go beneath
We're
the
already
veil.
underneath it.
Yeah.
We're already underneath it.
Well, technically, you're right about at this point. You're right about at the level of the veil.
Okay. Well,
So take a few more steps and you'll be beneath it.
I'm beneath the veil.
I'm
We
under.
survived!
I'm above. I'm
Yeah,
under.
I'm in.
I'm above. I'm not touching you. So yeah, if you guys want to continue going down, without a stronger source of light, you are kind of alone down here. But you get the feeling that this is a pretty massive area underneath this city, and obviously there should be more kind of staircases coming down.
How long have we been at this?
Couple hours.
It
Couple
took
hours
you
now.
about 40
Because it was
minutes
40
to get
minutes
through,
to get. Yeah, and then we've been walking.
and then thus far you've only gone 50 feet down, so that took you
Yeah.
5
10
minutes.
minutes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to continue going down, like I said, the only like bad part about this is there's no railing, there's no walls. So it's a little bit scary walking down these stairs. But the stairs themselves seem relatively well built. There's not a ton of there's no deterioration of them. There is wear to them. Like you can see edges of the stairs have been worn smooth from people using them, apparently a lot. But there's no deterioration.
Are these also obsidian type with no shine to it, or are these...
The color
Black?
is black since you have your lantern. You can see that the stone itself is some sort of black stone. but it's stone. It's not glass. For anyone wondering, obsidian is volcanic glass. So, and it's like most glass, it's rather fragile. So it's the color of obsidian, which is this really deep black color, but it is most definitely stone. So, and again, it's unlike anything you've ever seen before.
Well, do you guys want to go down to the source of light, or are we just gonna turn around, get out of here?
I say we keep going.
Keep going.
So,
Down seems like where we need to go if everything above is in rubble.
So
All right.
as you guys continue to descend down, you are climbing down these stairs for hours. And the further down you go, you start noticing, like as you're going down, you start noticing little kind of side areas off of the stairs that are built into them that can really, the only way to really kind of describe them is as rest points. They have little benches there. Some of them have places that seem to be like a fire pit. So you guys, as you're going down, you're noticing every so often you'll find like a rest stop. And the further down you go, kind of the heavier the air starts to feel. I don't know if any of you guys have ever gone underground significant distances, but the further down, like the air itself just starts feeling heavier, and
Here, yeah, on your chest.
so
Like-
it's not uncomfortable.
Like I said, we're going into the abyss.
Yeah.
If you've seen Main Abyss, you know what I mean.
Oh.
It's not uncomfortable. It's just noticeable, and you guys do notice. Or I guess the thing that you don't notice is you don't get that kind of musty smell that you normally get when you start going significantly underground, and the air doesn't seem to be getting any more humid or damp or anything. It just gets heavier.
Guessing this is like a similar feeling because Reggie, Allie, and Smegwick have been through this once before.
Oh yeah.
Kind of. You guys are going significantly deeper
I figured, yeah.
than that
We did
place.
this last time.
Yeah. Last time you were barely like 100 feet below the veil, and at this point you guys are getting 1,000 feet.
Deeper than that.
You guys have
Oh.
passed the 1,000-foot mark as you're going.
We're at one of these spots and I'm like, wow, we're deeper than we were on Nope Island.
Yeah,
Hey,
remind
you
us of
there?
that.
Just think about this. We're only going down. Wait till you have to come back up.
Oh God.
Why would you say that? Why did you have to say that now?
What?
These people were clearly advanced. How the frick do they do this every day?
Pit stops.
It stops.
Nice.
Rest breaks.
Rest
Yeah.
breaks.
Just
Yeah.
absolutely blasted size.
Wait till you see their calves.
I'm
They
gonna be really
never
upset.
skipped leg day.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be really pissed off when if I cast comprehend languages again. I'm gonna find the thing that says friggin' elevator.
we went through the door that had the elevator.
Yeah.
If you guys had
And
just gone to the like, you get to the
You guys
bottom
would
and
have
you
just figured it out.
you find an entire civilization of people. And they go, "You guys took the stairs?"
That's the
Oh,
old
God.
way. I thought we blocked
Meanwhile-
those off.
Meanwhile, as we're going downstairs, Cloud, Teeth, and Barrett are going upstairs to the top of the tower at the same time. Hey, how you doing?
It takes you guys.
See, watch. The elevators are going to be in one of those locked buildings.
It takes you guys the better part of about 3 hours to get to the point where you start noticing that you don't need your lantern anymore. There is ambient light from what seems like minerals built into or that are part of the staircase and everything. Just give off a natural luminescence.
Now is that like what the? Because I think we had somebody say, is that like the island as well, or is this different?
The island just had this weird light that came from nowhere.
Okay.
you guys couldn't find a light source, but there was effectively dim light throughout all of the tunnels. This is actually coming from some sort of mineral that seems intentionally left in the stairs. Like these, as the further you guys go down, you see that these are manufactured stairs, but they're obviously manufactured through magic, probably through something like mold earth or something similar to that. And it seems that when they were manufactured, they intentionally put in or left in these veins of this luminescent rock to provide lighting. And it seems that the further up you guys got, the less light, because the way that luminescent rocks work is they literally absorb light and then give it off in small amounts. And so the further up, the less light there was for them to absorb, because it seems that the light that they absorb is coming from below as opposed to above. And at this point, you guys can also see, you're starting to see something that looks significantly more like a city. You can see buildings that are multi-stories high, buildings that actually make sense as far as they're built. And as you look over to where the center of the
City.
the city was, you just see a giant pillar that
That's
seems
the
to go
elevator.
all the way up. Yes, that's
Oh,
the
no.
elevator.
Elevator.
Um,
Son of a bitch.
unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it.
Of course.
for
Of
today.
course.
Damn
If
it.
we would have just went
Find
to
the
the middle, we
elevator.
would have found the elevator.
So yeah, as always, if you enjoyed this, you missed any of it, I do upload all these to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TrainerJody. This weekend, we're going to be doing something kind of unique for Zelda Universe. Normally, I run a game called Tears of the Realms. We are missing some players this weekend, so instead of me running the game, I'm going to be building Cypher System creatures that I will eventually be throwing at my players.
So
and
we
chat.
should watch it so we know what
You
we're
can help
up
him
against.
build them.
Yeah, you can actually help me build them up. The creatures.
I mean, Imp,
As
you
long as they're not in
cannot.
my map, I'm okay.
Imp,
Put them in
you
someone else's.
cannot. You
yeah,
are-
this
you
is
are
Tears of the
banned.
Realms, and this is using
Oh,
the Cypher
yes.
system. So
Then.
yeah, you
Yeah,
guys.
I'm sorry. I wasn't aware you had that kind of power over me.
I am a mod. I'll be
Just-
at Comic Con, just ban, no, delete message, delete message.
Is that this weekend?
Yes.
I totally forgot. Yeah, SDCC this weekend. Anyone that's going, have fun. I'm interested to see
Comic-Con,
what it's going to
have
be
fun.
like.
thank
Stay
you.
hydrated.
Yeah.
I have every
Don't cross
other
the picket
means of
line.
I have other means of messaging Jody. I can create a 6-headed Leok, no problem.
I know.
Just don't put
Anyway,
MOO.
again, that is all for me, and I will see you guys next week. All right? Bye-bye.